What is up, y'all? Listen, if you missed out on Peak Partnership 2022, then you have been living in absolute FOMO for an entire year. And you know what? I don't want that for you. But I got good news for you. Peak Partnership 2023 is coming up. So, man, we can't wait for you to join us in Orlando, Florida. It's February 17th through the 19th. And I'll tell you this, it'll be an even bigger and better event. We're talking more people to network with, more opportunities, more multifamily opportunities, awesome headliners, and, of course, your boy Tyler Deveraux is going to be up there speaking as well. It's the event of the year, and I can promise you this, you will not want to miss out. So listen, visit mfmpeakpartnership.com. I'll say it again, mfmpeakpartnership.com for more details and reserve your seat right frickin' now. This event is going to be epic. You do not want to miss out, so click the link in our description to register. Sincerely, what are you waiting for? Click the frickin' link, mfmpeakpartnership.com, and register, and I cannot wait to see y'all there. Aloha. All right, aloha, y'all. Welcome back to the Growth Cast, dude. I'm freaking pumped for today. We have Ryan.
My name is Ryan Woolley. Yes,
Woolley.
that's right.
In office.
Two O's, two L's.
Two O's, double O, double L.
Double O, double L.
Ryan, double O, double L. Woolley. And, dude, we got Jackson here, too.
Very happy to be
But
here.
we're stand-ins. We're always here.
Yeah.
Ryan Woolley isn't here. We're going to grill this dude. We're just going to chat, man.
Okay.
Talk about the growth that Ryan has achieved in his life, what he has been up to. And I'm excited, man, because the dude that we're about to chat with and interview and talk to is really the freaking lifeblood behind everything we do here, man.
I couldn't agree more. The heart of all this for sure.
Thank
I
you.
actually
Thank
have
you.
a question that just popped up that I do want to ask you. We'll get to it. But we hear a lot about Tyler's experience of meeting you in the airport after an experience that he had in that encounter. I want to hear your perception of that today, and
Me too.
And I want to hear your side of that
the
story.
airport?
Yes.
Yeah, well, not yet. We'll dive into that, but I want to.
Okay.
So just start thinking that over. I would love to hear your side of that story.
Great lead-in question.
But do you mind if I
Love
give
it.
it? Do you mind if I give a quick rundown of the Growth Cast for our new listeners?
Give a quick rundown, bro.
If you're just joining us here on the Growth Cast, we're very happy to have you here. Thank you for joining. Just quick rundown. Monday through Thursday, we have our daily drips that's hosted by Dallas Pruitt, who brings you daily mindset principles. Tune into those episodes, 3 to 5 minute long episodes that create a massive amount of value to start your day. Friday, we have our Aloha Friday drips, the one that you're listening to right now, hosted by myself. Sometimes they're hosted by Tyler. Sometimes he's interviewing a student that's gone through the multifamily mindset that's acquired some properties. Sometimes some other high-level guests happen on those Friday episodes. But we're always going to hear from Tyler Deveraux on those Aloha Friday episodes and gain some knowledge from him. And then on Saturday, we've got our extended cuts where I have the opportunity to deep dive interview with Dallas Pruitt, who provides those daily drips throughout the week. I get to ask him some more questions to dive more into those principles that he teaches. All of our content can be found on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Give us a rating, review, and share the podcast for sure. But let's dive in.
Woo, you killed that, bro.
Enough of that business chatter. Let's dive
go.
in.
Okay. Hang on. Is this video recording me here, or is
Just
this
look at
audio?
us, bro.
Okay.
Video,
All right.
We got it all.
audio,
Shit.
it's all of it.
Okay.
So no picking your
It
nose.
can get awkward. It can get awkward here.
No, it won't get awkward. So, okay,
Just chat with us, though.
do you mind if we just dive right into that first question?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? I've never asked you that either.
From your perspective, Tyler, so for those of you that might just be tuning in, Tyler, give a quick rundown of when you met Ryan in the airport. Just quick. As
I
fast as you
had just found out that I was going to become a dad, and I knew Ryan. Ryan and I were acquaintances for sure. I knew Ryan, but I just found out that I was going to become a dad. I had also just received, which is the only thing that I ever knew that I wanted to be was a dad, but I was also not in the position that I wanted to be when I was going to become a dad, so I was a little bit nervous about it. And I had also just read an email from my wife that was an email pretty much saying, dude, just talking about how, we were communicating via email because we had things were life was busy and not balanced. And it broke my heart, and it created this amount of motivation to find a solution to really, dude, create a better life, man. And that was, so
it was a pivotal moment for you.
it was a pivotal moment.
And then
Yeah.
shortly
And then all of a
after
sudden
that,
I run into Ryan Woolley, and I know that this solution needs to be passive income and wealth creation. And all of a sudden I run into Ryan Woolley, who doesn't know any of these things that I've just talked about, that are going on in my life. and he had just found out how to acquire apartment buildings. And it's this quick conversation during a layover at an airport. I'm rushing to a flight. He's rushing to a flight. But all I remember is him saying something along the lines of, the cash flow from these properties are crazy. And then I get on my flight, and that's just repeating in my head over and over and over again. And now I can attest that the cash flow from these properties are crazy.
It is indeed crazy.
Hawaii is pretty good, isn't it?
Hawaii's decent.
Yeah, and your life's transformed ever since you're meeting Ryan there.
100%.
Or having that conversation.
No question.
Ryan, how was that for you? Do you remember? Do you even remember that encounter?
Yeah,
You're in the airport a lot.
I was going through a pretty hard time in my life as well. I was going through a divorce, and so mentally maybe I don't remember or recall as much, but I think through life you always want to surround yourself around successful people, right? And I knew that Tyler, I've known him years, prior to this, probably 5-6 years prior to that.
Yeah, at least.
And I know Tyler's always been successful in his life, right? And we had an event coming up, and seeing Tyler, I was like, oh, man, dude, it's a perfect opportunity to get Tyler involved, man. Dude, if he could see this, man, it's just a different. I wanted to share that with people, right? Like, hey, man, this is freaking amazing. But I knew that Tyler getting in, man, he could look at things a completely different way. One thing about Tyler is he can see things structurally that I don't see, right? And I knew that about Tyler, right? That he could come in and see all the money here, and he could structure, be like, look, this is what we could do with all this money, right? And so for me, I want to be around that success, right? I've never been in that position where I could think visually, right? Or like visionary wise, right? I can look at it and go, man, this is a great opportunity. This is good. Tell me what to do. I go do it, right? But like Tyler, I always knew that he was always the top guy out there, right? Like, success in sports, success in sales, success in all that stuff, right? So seeing it, I wanted to share that with him, go, man, hey, come take a look at that. So I remember like, that part of the airport of seeing that part, right? Of going, I want to surround myself around this guy, which is like what a lot of people on this podcast see, right?
Yeah.
I want to surround myself around him, and so I just remember that at the airport. Now, I didn't know what he was going through. I didn't, he briefly knew what I was going through. I didn't think a lot of people in my circle knew what I was going through. They didn't maybe ask, no one really asked, right? This is something you don't ask, right? But we both inherently, internally, I think knew that we needed to help each other out, right? I think there was a different power, you call it, maybe a different thing. Everyone calls it something different, but I think there was something that was drawn to each other of like, hey, we need to help each other out. And we knew that, right? Like God put us into a place, into a position of all airports in the world, right? We see each other in an airport, right? And talk about some of these things. But
bro, that's awesome. Thank you for all the things you just said, first off, because they're kind things. But it's interesting because I'm sitting here thinking of all those kind of things you're saying, because in that moment in time in my life, I didn't view myself as successful. I didn't. And can I be very honest with another thing about that meeting and that conversation?
Yeah.
That I swear to God hadn't thought about until what you just said. You said you were going through this divorce and was in a hard time. Maybe I don't remember all those things. And I actually remember walking away from that and being like, man, Ryan looks like shit. I do remember it though.
Yeah.
I haven't
mentally,
thought about it for so long, but I literally,
Yeah.
because dude, it's fucking, that's history. But it's like, I do remember thinking that. But I want to paint that out, and I want to paint that picture because you saw something. You saw something, dude. You saw something. And what I love about you is that you left no room for me. You left the minute that I even showed any sort of interest, you were like, no, dude. And you made sure to get me to that event.
Yeah.
I was not. You made sure to get me to that event.
Yeah.
So, and I paint that picture because so many people out there they don't feel like they're in a position to provide value. I don't know if you've ever thought to yourself that you're not in a position to provide value. I literally do not know if you've ever thought that, because you are the most valuable person that I could even think of, because you're always providing value. Like, it's literally how you're wired. And so I want to paint that picture, because if you're in a tough spot in your life, I don't care what's going on in your life, dude, there's ways you can provide value if you're just cognizant of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. It's, yeah. I mean, I sit there and think, at that event we went to, because you came to that event. I remember
in
going,
Boston.
Yeah. I remember numerous times, probably, a dozen times. It's like, holy shit, there's a lot of money in this room. Right.
Oh yeah.
And I remember connecting with some of the people like Christy Brooks. Remember we even sat and had dinner with her, and,
the couple from San Diego.
Couple from San Diego, the Humes.
Dude, well done, man.
And they, just the amount of money and collaborate after that. And I don't even think that we ever talked about like, hey, listen, we're going to be partners. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It was just more of like, dude, this is an awesome opportunity to get into something like that. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, man, is that your next partner, the person you can be there, your next investor, whoever could be right there. Right. And just putting yourself into opportunity.
Yeah. Dude, my belief was enhanced a ton at that meeting.
Yeah.
I didn't even really know what I was getting myself into. I didn't, but my belief was enhanced massively during that meeting.
Real quick, Tyler, you said when you were talking about Ryan getting to that event in Boston, you said you made sure that I was at the event.
Yep.
You made sure that. What do you mean? What do you mean he made sure? Did he think?
Meaning he kept following. Ryan is a persistent person. Ryan is a man of action, and he's a persistent person. And so I showed some interest, and dude, I was running a web business at this point. Like, my thought was that my journey to success was going to be the web business. My journey to what I was looking for was this web business. But once again, the cash flow from these properties are crazy, sparked my interest, and he saw that interest. And I was interested in real estate. We were both doing real estate. He had done some flips. I had done some flips. I think that at this point, I don't know. I don't think I maybe even have wholesaled a couple multifamily deals at this point. I don't think so, though. I can't remember when the time frame was on that.
Right around the same time, yeah.
Had to have been.
Yeah.
But because I had no idea how to do those. But he was persistent in making sure that I got there. Followed up with me. Like, literally, like, left me no other option but to get there.
Yeah.
He did. He's a man of action. You know that, too.
No, I bring that up and I ask that because I've seen you do that for you've done that for me. You've followed up with things for me that you know are going to benefit me and benefit my life. I've seen you do that with multiple, even people in this office right now and other people within the company as well. You love people. Like your genuine love for people is so clear to me. I just wanted to point that out, but then also ask that question: Is it something that you do consciously, or is it just built in you to love people like that?
First of all, thank you. But I think that it is maybe subconscious. Maybe that's your question. Maybe I don't think about it. I think from a young age, my mom said I've always done that from when I was a kid, right? My mom says I didn't cry. I was their best child, but I've always known that if you do things for others, like without wanting anything in return, right, that you'll always get something in return for whatever reason, right? like whatever you do. I saw Tyler at a young, in Boston. I remember Boston, when he came on, we were working there. You were doing a consulting event, right? And just like the way Tyler went around the room and laughed and like talked to people and sold and all that stuff. He was go, right? But wanted to have fun as well, right? And I always go back to this, right? Is we always want to surround ourselves around people that have potential, right? That are better than us, right? Like, and getting back to your question full circle though is like, I see things sometimes in people where I'm like, man, I want to help out, right? Like, you want to make $200,000 a year. Awesome. Let's figure it out. Right. Like, but I don't know that I would go to just any random person being like, hey, I want to help you out if they didn't show that, right? They didn't want to show that potential, right? Like, and I know you're the same way, right? Of going, man, I want to help people that want to help themselves. Right. Yeah. And I knew that Tyler was looking for something else and it's like growth. We talked about growth, right? Like, sure, we had single family experience, man, but multifamily was a growth opportunity, and so you want to surround yourself with people that can lift you up, right? And get you into those places just like you, right? Jackson is, like Jackson has a ton of potential, man, a ton of what's going on, right? With the right experience and the right help, you do the same exact things that I do, right? And so like surrounding yourself around people that can do the same exact things, man, makes just this world a better place.
Okay,
so valuable.
So good, dude.
So good.
Can I ask you a question with that, though?
Yeah.
You see that potential in others, and you do, man. A lot of people don't know this, but I started speaking because Ryan started telling people that I was good at speaking.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I knew that.
And that's how I started speaking. And but you see that in others, and I see you see that in others, but like, do you see, is it easier for you to see it in others than it is for you to see that potential in yourself?
Yeah, I mean, deflection is always easy, right? Deflection is, right? But it is. I think sometimes we don't ever, we don't like to look internally, and see what we're good at, what we're not good at, right? It's always easier to focus on others, right? And that comes with good and bad, right? Sometimes we have bad, flaws as well. We don't want to look at that internally as well, right? But it is, man. I mean, there's nothing that gives me more, happiness in life to see other people succeed, right? And through that, right, I've had my own successes as well, right? And we've had our own successes in different ways, right? We live in different areas, Hawaii and Florida. I think they're two great places, right? But I see those successes in life, and I see it the same with you, right? You could say it about me, you could say it as well, right? But like you give of your time, right? Your knowledge, right? And bettering people, right? In return, it helps us as well. I mean, it always does, but I know you don't intentionally do it that way, right? It's just it's a byproduct of what you receive because of the actions that you take.
You know it's going to come back.
Yeah.
And so that actually is a question that I have. How do you know that it's going to come back? Because my question, like if I'm listening to this, I'm thinking like, okay, you said from a young age that you've just known that if you help people get what they want, I think there's even a quote. I can't remember who even. I think there's a quote that says, "If you help enough people get what they want, you'll inevitably get what you want." But how do you know that?
I think just through what I've seen in life, right? Like it's always come back, right? I just think this non-tangible thing that you see that I don't know that it's ever going to come back. It just has, right? And I trust the process, right? I just trust. Right. For whether it's a spiritual thing, whether it's, whatever you want to call it, it is, you just made a comment though, like, putting yourself, what did you say? You put yourself in positions, right? What did he say? It is, I look at, it's funny, and maybe this is not applicable what we're talking about, right? Is, I was watching this Kobe thing, right? And we talk about growth and steps in growth, right? I was watching the Mamba effect, right? And it was on TikTok. We all know I like TikTok or Instagram Reels, or I call it Instagram Live before I was corrected.
TikTok ideas every day, man.
But I look at the examples that Kobe has given, right? And he always said, you work harder, you put yourself in positions, right? You'll always be ahead of everyone else, right? And I know that like it's opportunities that we create. I know that if I help create opportunities for others, I will always be in a position to have opportunities for myself as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense. It was so good.
It's so valuable.
It is, dude. And you said that you know about it because of that's what you've seen. That's dude, that really is exactly it. Like you have put yourself in this position, provided value, and then seen how your life has just continued to just do like a hockey stick curve, right? Like propel and grow in the direction that you're looking to grow, which is awesome. So it's by experiences that you've seen that, so that it helps you. The more experiences we have in relation to that, the easier it is for us to just go all in on value.
For sure.
Right? Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it.
Dude, do you have something? Do you have a question?
Go ahead if you have one.
I don't.
Okay, I got one.
I don't have one.
I thought you did.
Well, I was going to try to get one.
My question is, how has your life, I say that there's this hockey stick change, like this growth. If you're watching on YouTube, you see my hand is going up in growth. How has your life changed since us meeting in the airport? How has your life changed? And then I'm going to have a follow-up question to that.
I would say, my level of where I want to be has just gone tremendously up. I never thought that look at where financially, sure, we can say monetarily, my life has tremendously changed, right? But it's changed because of hard work too, right? And putting ourselves in opportunities, right? Where we don't take things for granted. It's the effort that we put in, right? And I want to go back to the Kobe example, right? Okay. Is Kobe, wakes up at 3 a.m, goes to, he woke up at 3 a.m, right? He went to work, started shooting, exercising from 4 to 6, right? And then take a break, and then he'd continue to go on. And he said, look, I know that if I continue those patterns and I do that, right, I'll always be ahead of everyone else. Doesn't matter if someone else starts, they'll be 5 years behind me, And so I look at that. It's hard work, man. It's the hours that we put in, the change that we put in, man. Like waking up early. You wake up early. You do those things. You learn. You get to do a different place, right? Of going, this is what my potential is. So talking to like a billionaire today is different than talking to someone that had 50 or 100 grand to invest, right? And why? Because my level of knowledge is different, right? My level of knowledge of what I can talk about or the opportunities that I can create for that billionaire, right? It's the same opportunities, right? I mean, they're just looking for growth, right? Monetary growth. The $100,000 investor is looking for, growth. It's just different growth, right? It's growth, it's same growth. It's just different amounts, right? And so I would say that like mentally, I have changed tremendously from where I was at, right? Before it was, hey, let me go flip a place, or hey, let me go work for this accounting firm, or let me go do this, right? And put the hours in and thinking that was all my potential, right? If I go work for the man, right? If I go put the hours in, I'll make more money. Yeah. Where, right now, I know we always talk about this, monetary growth to us is infinite. As infinite as we want to create it. Yep. Whereas like working for someone, it wasn't. I was capped. Yeah. And I was capped because I was mentally capped too, right? Mentally capped. Going, well, look, I work for them, then I go home, I have these things to do. And it's funny, you say in the airport, you see me and I was drained, right? I was drained because I was capped, right? Like I had nowhere else to go. And I think that's the problem with most people. They're capped mentally. And so they can't look at it and go, you and I can look at it today and go, there's infinite potential, infinite. Yep. Where a majority of people out there don't see that.
Can I give you an example of this? Yeah. That's so good what you just said. Mentally capped, dude. Because it's mentally capped. And when I said that we went to that event, I said my belief enhanced, right? Yep. Well, I was talking to somebody, and I won't bring all these details up, but I was talking to somebody this week, Monday. Sorry. Okay. Monday. Today's Wednesday.
This week.
We're recording it. Sometime this week. Yes.
He talked to somebody.
And they were telling me like that they wanted to, I'm trying to summarize here, but they wanted to get paid differently. But I said, if you want to get paid differently than where they're at currently, this is like literally me just giving advice to someone. Yeah. I said, if you want to get paid differently, you need to think differently. If you want to get paid differently, you need to think differently. And I gave them some examples of how they were not thinking properly because they were capped in what they thought their potential was. Why? And listen to what I'm saying here, okay? When we're in our own situation, when we're in our own truth here, this world we live in, our own little world, it's very hard to see a whole nother world of possibility. Because everything that is a concern and a worry to us is just like, it just seems daunting. And this person's worry, this person's concern was really the amount of money that they were making. Yeah. But every conversation that I had with them was about the bare minimum of what they needed to survive, the bare minimum of what they needed to accomplish, to pay their bills. Every conversation I had with them was the bare minimum because that's all that they could literally their belief was capped. Yeah. So how did I asked pretty decent questions, but I gave them an example. You talked about how we both talked about how Ryan is persistent about pushing people in the direction of their goals to help them get to where they need to be, right? Right. We mentioned a truck for you. Yeah. Right. One of those things that like you've been thinking about, and finally it was like, fucking let's go do it. Yeah. That same thing happened at Paxton's birthday the other day where I know there's this thing that I want to do and I'm sitting there thinking about it, talking about it, and Ryan's like, well, both of you were actually like, what are you talking about?
What are you waiting for?
Go do it. Yeah. You got to do that, man. You guys have, and it was, I don't know when this episode will air, so I'll just say it. But it was buying Kentucky Derby tickets for Britt and I, and not cheap ones, very expensive ones. And Ryan and Jackson were like, go do this. And it was a hefty amount. It was more, the amount that I spent for those tickets was more than this person that I was talking to made in a year. Yeah. And I said to them, what I'm about to say to you next is not something that is, I'm saying this to brag, or I'm telling you this so that you understand the individuals you're talking to and why you're continuing to stay capped at where you're at. I just spent more on a 2-day event than you make in a year. I didn't even know that shit was possible. Literally had no idea that was even a possibility, right? And there's a lot bigger possibilities than that, obviously. But that is possible because I enhanced my belief of what's possible. Why did I enhance my belief in what's possible? Well, because you helped me do that, bro. And what was crazy is I said, you're so worried about like having a conversation about an extra couple grand. Yeah. Because to you can't even fathom that extra couple grand. But in reality, the individuals you're chatting with that can impact that couple grand for you, it is not a blip on their radar. but they are treating you how you expect to be treated, which is why you're getting the bare minimum. Does that make sense?
It makes a ton of sense.
So her belief was capped. Your belief was capped. So you were capped within that world. My belief was capped, and you helped me unlock that belief, bro. And you have helped a lot of people unlock that belief, which is awesome.
It's a superpower,
You know what's interesting
for sure.
As I look at it, the example you said, the Kentucky Derby, man, is if you remember what I said on Saturday, is right. Do you want to live without regret? Well, let's say that opportunity never comes again in your life, right? Like, will you regret that? I think so many people look at opportunities, they regret it later on in life. But I want this example you just gave, and I don't know who it is, but I look at going. That time you saw me in the airport, right, is I allowed a situation to, I'm going to say handcuff me, but to dictate my life, right? To control my life, in that situation, right? Whereas I think a lot of people look at it and go, you owe me, right? I'm doing this, so you owe me. And I think in a situation where you and I became partners, it was like no one owes us. We owe it to ourselves to do it, right? Like, I'm going to do everything. And I know you and I have known each other for 15, 16 years now. And it's going, listen, we always worked our ass off, right? Like, have always worked our ass off, and no one owes you anything, right? You owe it to yourself to be like you waking up at 4, like Kobe woke up at, at 3 and 4 to work, right? Yeah. The people who have success, they don't ever say, hey, you owe me, right? Phil Jackson didn't owe it to Kobe to wake up, right? The owners, the West, didn't owe it to him to pay him money, right? He went and performed, and they ended up paying him money, right? You perform, and you get paid, right? Like, so many people go, well, you owe me. My work owes me. My W-2, I work my ass off. No, go fucking work your ass off, right? Mm-hmm. Am I allowed to say the F word?
Absolutely.
Right?
Let them
you
fly,
go
bro.
work your
Let 'em
ass
fly.
off, dude, right? Like, and you will get rewarded. It may not happen next month. It may not happen tomorrow. It may not happen in a year. But guess what? Since we've started 7-8 years ago, we look at this. I'm looking at a beautiful view from your office of the ocean, right? We're going on a private, whale watching thing that $3,000. We don't think about it, right? We look at it, it's an expense, right? That we have to write off. And I used to feel guilty saying, hey, man, we can't talk about money, right? Because other people are going to look at us and go, well, you guys don't get it. Fuck yeah, we do get it. Because we've been in those before, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I lost everything in that divorce when you saw me in the airport. I lost everything. I took everything I could just put one foot in front of the other, right? Like, to put one foot in front of the other and go. But guess what? That step kept going and going and going. And now guess what? I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks of me. Yeah. I don't, right? And I'm not ashamed to say, hey, like, we went and spent money on this. Yeah. Right? Because guess what? We work hard and we look at solutions of how to get there, right? And no one will ever control me, right? Or control the circumstances of where I'm at. Things are always going to happen in your life, man, right? But the reality is, what I've learned from Tyler, and this is what you asked, right, is what have I learned from Tyler, Matt, is to always think about solutions, always think about how to get ahead, right? And that's that time in the airport, right, of going, I want to surround myself around a person who can help me get to where I need to be, right? So, answering your question from the very beginning, man, is that, dude, or maybe you asked me out there. It's like your days, right? Like, I don't know, what day is it,
no,
dude,
I
right?
asked
Like,
you
conversation somewhere.
This conversation happened somewhere, right?
No, I asked you.
But like, someone who can see potential, right, in you, right, and help you see opportunities and how to find those opportunities, right, and surrounding yourself around those people, right? Because just like the Kobe thing, right, Kobe worked hard, but he never wanted to pass off to anyone, right? Why? Because he knew he put the effort in, right? We want to surround ourselves around people who put the same work effort in, right, that will help us all get to the same place.
So good shit, dude. And why can you see potential, bigger potential than other people can see sometimes? It's because of the way that you live your life. Like, you would let into that whole thing that you just talked about, talking about the regret that I would feel by not pursuing that. And I want you to understand what I heard from that. I heard from that because I believe that a lot of people pass up on opportunities like that because they think that it's like, well, next one, I'll take the next one. But that next one never comes, and it's not because the opportunity doesn't come. Listen to what I'm saying here. It's not because the opportunity doesn't come. It's because saying no to an opportunity isn't just saying no to that opportunity. It is a way of life. Listen to what I'm going to repeat it. Saying no to an opportunity, the opportunities are still there, but you never take them because you have said no to so many opportunities that you've created this way of life. You've created a habit within your life. You've created a habit of seizing these opportunities and helping other people seize these opportunities. So your ability to see different things is enhanced. Why? Because it's a way of life. Your way of life is seizing an opportunity, which has continually elevated you to know what is possible, and you help other people know what is possible. from simply just seizing opportunities, from simply saying, fuck it, I ain't waiting, I'm doing.
Yeah.
Love does things, right? If you truly love yourself, like you owe it to yourself, that means if you truly does, I'm reading a book right now called Love Does. And the whole point is love does things. Love doesn't sit there and patiently wait. Love doesn't sit there and just wait for the next opportunity. No, love does things, dude. And if you truly see yourself and love yourself, you'll do things that will help elevate yourself, not just think about doing that shit.
Super profound, man.
Dude, so this was awesome. I'm so glad that we did the episode the way that we did, and that we were able to kind of loop it back in together here at the end. Ryan, thank you so much, man. Tyler, thank you as well, dude.
I have one more question.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the biggest challenge you're facing right now with what you believe is possible, what your potential is, where you're going, right? Because I told you
That's a good question.
that I have this. The question was, how have you grown, or what changes have you seen? And I mean, massive growth, dude. I mean, I just remember your initial goal was like, what was your initial?
I just want $100,000 in my bank account.
It. $100,000 in his bank. He thought, like, if I can have $100,000 in my bank account, woo! And then when you got there, it was like,
shit, I wanted $1 million in my bank account.
right?
Yeah.
Changes.
Yeah.
Like, things just change. So I've seen this growth from you that's been crazy. But I told you there'd be a follow-up question with that, which is, what challenges are you currently seeing personally that's stifling your growth, and where are you going to be in a few years from now? Where's Ryan Woolley going to be in a few years from now? So a two-part question.
2 years from now?
So first question, what are the biggest challenges? Because I think that a lot of times people think that you reach a certain point and challenges dissipate. They don't. They get bigger. What challenges are you personally seeing with your personal identity, with your personal, like, what is possible, and that you're trying to battle and fight right now as a person?
Ooh, man. Yeah, I think that your level of personal growth is always changing, right? Like you said, 100,000 I just wanted in my bank account. And I think, in fact, I wanted to pay cash for a car, right? I think that's one of them. And then $100,000, and then it was $1 million, right? And I think the thing is with personal growth, in fact, one of my 2023 year goals was to improve personal and mental health, right? So one of my biggest things is like, you focus on this is balance, right? Like, really 2023 is about balance, sure, we've had monetary success, right? But then sometimes I forget about the other things, and I don't keep on them, right? Yeah. And so, one of my biggest things is to lose weight this year, right? And to get into shape, maybe not Tyler shape, but, to get into shape, and just mental health of how to juggle. When we started out our business, it was just us. Then we added Jackson, and added Melissa, right? And then, and then we've grown bigger and bigger and bigger, right? But, like, how do you maintain that balance with everyone in all those other areas? But to really know, like, hey, I don't have to, right? I can go off into this, what we call zone of genius, right? I can go into this area where, I said, like, connections, right? Opportunities, figuring out strategic partnerships, maybe that area, right? And so for me, like, what is my focus on is just personally is that, right? Is how do I grow as a person, as a new husband, with my kids, and give them the opportunities, right? Not just employees, not myself, but, like, how do I teach others around me how to have the same success? That was what you're looking for, but yeah,
totally, man. Because sometimes the things that have got us to where we are won't get us to where we're going. And I think that we've seen that multiple times along this journey of like, what do we, yes, this worked for us to get here, but what do we need to elevate now for us to get there? So that is the next question, is where is there? What are you working towards, man? I know you said health-wise, but, like, where are you going to be in a couple of years? How's life going to be different in a couple of years?
It's I know we share the same sentiment in this, man, but, like, the only way to make a world a better place is if you live it by example, right? And like, if we can help other people around us get to where they're going to be, right? Like, I would love more philanthropic things, right? Like helping out more around where I'm at to better the world that we're in, right? For me, that is a huge 2-3 year goal of getting to that place where it's like, hey, we can run a business, the business can sustain itself, but then how do we help others around us? And so for me, I think just personally growing that way, right? Visiting different places. I look at Hawaii, man, it's just a beautiful place, but, like, there's a lot of places in the world, but how do I do that? I grow It's the hard work that I put in today, I put in next year, right, to set ourselves into a place where we can go enjoy those things, right, where we can learn more places of the world. But for me, it's that, right? I don't think there's ever any stop. You look at 2 years from now, right? I hope that I said 100,000 in my bank account, and we've more than 10 times that, right? And I look at what is that 10 times goal now, right? And I know tonight we're focusing on our goals this year, right? But like, it's always that 10 times. It's funny how that we always talk about 10 times, right? 10x, right? But it really is. It's always like, okay, what's the 10x now? So 2 years from now, I want to be 20x, right? And so how do we get there? And I just think that's with growth. Growth is a funny thing, man. But it says I think the goal is to continually grow, whatever that little step is. Whether it's 10 minutes of something a day, right? Like, what are we doing to grow? You know.
And do you know how you get there? You said that you want to improve your health, but you said not quite Tyler. You want to get in better shape, but not quite Tyler shape. Because maybe you believe, I'm going to use your freaking shit on you right now. You ready?
Let's use it.
You maybe believe that is not within your capability, that is not possible. Why? Because you're capped on what you think you're capped on. Why? Because you haven't taken the little steps, the 30-minute-a-day shit. But if you did, I've taken the 30-minute-a-day stuff for
I did yoga though
my whole fucking life.
Once.
But listen to me, I've taken the small steps my whole life, which is why I'm in pretty decent shape, dude. Because I've loved it my whole life, right? And it's easy. So literally, I'm not shitting you. I've done push-ups since the time I was like 6.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be like, anyway, I wanted to be a running back, and I heard that if you are a good running back, you do push-ups and sit-ups.
Yeah.
So I did it between the commercials, right? So I have my whole life, but it's the little things that have stacked up to big things. So it's the little things that you'll do fitness-wise. The little things like no more Dr. Peppers, no more Mountain Dews.
I've weaned off of it.
Actually, I know you have a bitchin' treadmill or an elliptical. It's just 30 minutes on that bitch.
Yeah.
Walk around your neighborhood. If you do those little things, I'm holding this motherfucker accountable right now.
Yeah.
You do those little things. This is possible, bro.
This is possible. As in my 1-pack to his 6-pack, right?
Okay, Jackson, I'm going to ask you the same thing to wrap up.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be in a couple years from now? What are you working towards? What's the future self that you're working towards right now?
Oh, man, I'm going to be a homeowner here on the beautiful island of
Can
Maui.
I mention something with this? Because I meant to tie in one thing here.
Yeah.
I got sidetracked. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to paint this picture, Ryan's initial goal was he wanted to buy a car in cash. Well, now he's bought multiple $1-million homes in cash, and he has to buy a new truck in cash every single year just to save in taxes. Those are great problems to have.
Great problems to have.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Homeowner in Maui.
Yeah, homeowner on the beautiful island of Maui.
Hey, I want to say, hang on, we're 2023. I want to know, because in 2025, I want to make sure we write this shit down.
I'm loving that we're doing this right now.
Accountability here. Yeah, if I have to lose weight, listen.
Deal.
It's accountability here.
You have to buy a house. No, yeah. So that's man. That's the biggest thing.
What kind of home?
Beautiful home.
Like,
gotta be specific, bro.
Where?
He made me be specific.
Kihei, near the beach, dude.
Kihei near the beach.
Yeah, walking distance to the beach.
Size.
Absolutely.
We gonna be neighbors?
Size matters.
I'd love to be neighbors.
Love to be neighbors, bro.
Love to be
Hey.
neighbors.
Size does matter.
Size does matter.
Yes.
What size house do you want?
Sufficient for my needs.
We gotta be
You guys gonna
specific.
have
One
kids
thing you know
running
about
around in
Tyler,
there?
he's gonna make you
You
be
guys
specific.
gonna have kids running around in there?
Well, and in 2 years is
Put it
when
in the
we
universe.
2 years is when we decided we'd discuss again.
Courtney, you guys are having
So
kids in a
we'll
big
do-
ass house in
we'll-
Kihei. Woo! Let's go.
Hey.
We'll discuss it again in a couple of years. But yeah, that's the direction for sure.
Okay. Homeowner in Kihei, big ass house near the beach.
Yep.
Love it. You can buy my house, bro.
Deal.
Because I'm gonna be on the beach. So we'll just grow.
Like Tyler's always talking about as well, there's stages in life.
That's what I'm saying.
That's where I'm going to be in 2 years.
That's it.
Not in 5 years.
And guess how long it took
Not in
me
10
to
years.
Guess how long it took me to get there? Well, I'm a different generation than you, bro. A different generation. But this is the key. Listen to what I'm saying. I ask these questions because if you are struggling to make progression in your life and see these big hockey stick type curves in your life, it's because you're not surrounding yourself with people that can enhance your belief about what's possible in life. And I believe that if you do that, you should be able to achieve that and accomplish that a lot quicker than that person did that. And if you've achieved that and you're not sharing what you've achieved, that's a gigantic problem because you're being selfish with what you've achieved. It's what it is, man. What's crazy, though, is this. There's plenty of people that are willing to share what they know because I know this. There's two basic things that come down to fulfillment, living a fulfilled life. And it's exactly what Ryan has talked about this entire time, which is growing and giving. And the only reason that we grow is to give. But when people grow to a point where they have something to give, and then they go to share what they have to give, those people that haven't grown to a point to what they have, and they now go to share it with those people. Like I've grown to a point and I go to share it with these people. People are like, well, why are you sharing it? What's in it? How come? I think it's what's going, what are you looking for? I'm looking to help you. You're fucking welcome. And I'll tell you this, like, I'm just telling you, man, I have these ads that I put out, and on there I have all these different comments of not possible. You'll work so hard. And then they not this, and I screenshotted them the other day. Did I show you this?
No.
Screenshotted a bunch of them.
I've seen them.
That same week that all these ads are going out and all these comments of it's not possible, you can't do it, these guys full of shit.
It's the same one as corporate greed. Corporate greed, you're taking money.
That's exactly
community greed, yeah.
And it also talked about, of course, you can buy an apartment because you're white. Literally multiple comments there. That same week was the last week of the year of 2022. This is the same week.
Yeah.
How many deals in the network did we have closed in the last week of 2022?
6, wasn't it?
7. 7 different deals from X number of students. I can't remember the exact number of students. That was just in the last week of the year.
Crazy.
And so the same time that I'm getting all these comments are the same times that in our private Facebook page is, this is the deal that I screenshotted this. This is the deal that I just did. This is how many units I have now. This is how much our net worth is here. This is how much we made in acquisition fees. This is how much my life has changed. So do you believe or not? Because people will share shit with you all the time, but you actually have to believe that the shit they're sharing is something that you can do. And if you don't, that's on you. I'm grateful, man, that you share the shit that you've done and continue to enhance your belief and elevate your life to the point that you have to help me elevate my life to the point that I have and Jackson's life to the point that he has.
Absolutely.
Okay, hang on. I do have one question for you, though, right? You talk about goals, right? You talk about personal health. You know me for a while. I was pretty skinny before now, and I've gained some weight. But, the thing is why is it, if you could give any feedback to someone right now, right? Because here's the thing. Is my health that important to me? Nope. You know this. It's not, right? It is. In my head, I say it is, but I don't do the steps to get there, right? Yep. For the people that are listening, right? Like, how do they do it? Because here's the thing. I'm going to call the investor tomorrow, right? Yep. Hey, they're going to be there tomorrow. Or I'm going to do this tomorrow, right? I'm going to do it, right? What can they do to get there? I know it says 20 minutes a day, right? But to the person that says, hey, I'm working a 50-hour-week job, Tyler, how do I get there? I know you're giving me this information. I know you're telling me what to do, but it's not possible. Like, what advice would you give them? Because I think that's the biggest thing, man, is for me to go, hey, what's going to convince me? Because I can relate sometimes. What's going to convince me to do those sit-ups in between commercials, right? Mm-hmm. I see you in your office, you go and you meditate, or you go do push-ups, or you do whatever, right? Like, what's going to convince them to go out and do?
Love that fucking question. And it comes down to what we just mentioned earlier, which is, what are your standards? What's your way of life? What's your way of life? What's your standards? Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is, we talk about the Kentucky Derby, and you talked about when you said this opportunity and maybe what if it doesn't come up again? Immediately in my mind, how my mind works was, I'm creating a habit right now. Do I pass up on life-changing opportunities? I will invest that kind of stuff all the time, right? I'll put that stuff to work. I'll do these kind of things. But when it comes down to, this is something that's not for me. This is for my wife and I to experience and enjoy life together. Yeah. I want to make that a habit that I do those things. So what do? You do. That's what you do. You do. You don't think anymore. You identify what you're going to do and you fucking do it.
Yeah.
And how do you do it? You don't start out doing 2 hours in the gym, if this is what we're talking about. You start out like literally just doing something. You start a starter step, a progress goal. Like, maybe you just fucking go to the gym, bro. Jackson, like, you have created this habit to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Has that always been a habit of yours?
Definitely
no,
not.
But you started going. You started going. And now, even today when you're sick, you went.
Yeah. Because
it's who you fucking are, and it's what the standard that you've set for yourself. And you went and you walked a little bit on, I think you said on the treadmill, sat in the steam room, but you fucking went.
Right.
The habit continues. So what do? You do it. And when did that change? I saw it change for you when I wrote on this board, is this a priority, or is this How did I say it?
Oh man, I
Jeez,
can't
my
remember.
mind just blank now.
Is it a want or is it oh man?
Is it a want or a must?
A
Thank
must,
you.
that's what it
Is
is.
it a want or a must? And then I tied in your family. I tied in all these different things. Courtney.
Yeah.
And I made you sign it, and you literally signed it and checked a box, and there's been its transition. That doesn't mean there hasn't been challenges since that commitment has been made.
Yeah.
Been tons of challenges.
Absolutely.
Mental, all sorts of different challenges. But your habits have changed continually, and now that's who you are, dude. You're that fucking dude who goes every day to the gym.
Yeah.
If you're not at the gym, it's like, what the fuck, dude? Is he okay, man? I better call him.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's who you are. So what do? They do something today, right fucking now.
Yeah.
You're a man of action. I see you do this. You know the answer to the question because I see you do it. I'm actually the person a lot of the times that wants to sit and wait. And I want to plan it out, this perfectly planned out schedule. And this is what needs to happen. I'll be in the car with you and it'll be like, hey man, we'll be talking and be like, hey, we need to call this individual. And I'll be like, yeah, that's a great point. I'm like, let's see, when can I fit that into my schedule? And then all of a sudden Ryan's on the fucking phone with that dude. It's who you are, dude. You do. People need to do. They need to talk less and do more. That's what they need to do.
Yeah,
love it.
Great point.
As we wrap up here, I know you're gonna do your send off. We all kind of had. You guys had your opportunity to say one last thing, so I won't have my opportunity to say one last thing here.
Yeah.
An actionable from today's episode. There's been a ton of things that we've talked about. Ryan, thank you for being on, man. I know
Thanks
you're.
for having
I
me.
know
Yeah,
you're.
so
I know you're
fun.
busy, and I know you have set things that you're trying to get done while you're here. So thank you for taking some time to jump on an episode with us. So many actionables, so many life experiences we've learned from these two gentlemen. One of the things that I've pulled out of this episode that maybe we haven't even talked about is the importance when picking a partner, the importance when picking an individual that you're going to grow with. We didn't have an outline for this episode, yet this conversation was focused around growth, momentum, movement, thinking bigger, being better, challenging yourself, challenging those around you. So my actionable and my takeaway and also a challenge for everybody is find people, like Ryan said at the very beginning, that are going to uplift you, that are going to help take you to those places. These two gentlemen have obviously found that in each other, and they've been able to help each other and grow each other's wealth and create an awesome thing that's going to change the world. So that would be my takeaway from this episode, and an actionable for every single person, is to find a person that's gonna make you tick, like Ryan makes Tyler tick, and like Tyler makes Ryan tick. It's powerful and special.
Can I tell you this though, right? Like, and I want to add to that. 7 years ago, maybe 8, close now, 7,
8.
Almost 8. It is this, right? Is when you have an opportunity, don't pass up on it. I could have walked by Tyler, right, and put my head down because of where my space was at, right? And so like people have opportunities and they don't do it. Why? Because of fear, because of other things, scarcity, whatever the case may be. Had I never said anything to Tyler 8 years ago, we wouldn't be where we're at today. Right? Maybe the universe would have put us together. But like so many people pass up on opportunities because of the fear that they may have inside, right? And so like anytime that an opportunity presents itself, say it, right? Tyler could have said, no, I don't want to go to that, right? And that was his agency, right, to do that. But you never know what that opportunity is going to transpire into, right? So
Love that, dude.
Awesome.
Comes in line, dude. Conversation that I just had yesterday. It's somebody who's been wanting to invest their money for so long. They're just holding on to it, waiting for it. And I was like, dude, how in the world are you going to talk to investors and tell them and talk to them about how important it is for them to put their money to work if you have never put your money to work?
Yeah.
You just sit on it.
Yeah.
Put your money to work, dude.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to put your money to work, well, give us a call. Do it. We'll put it in the fund, and you'll see it. Don't talk about wanting to do it. Put it to work. Put it to work. Okay, man. Love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Rate, share, comment. I don't know all the shit you're supposed to do, but definitely share, man. Ryan, dude, I appreciate you. Jackson, I appreciate you, and I appreciate y'all out there for rating, reviewing, sharing, following, whatever, all those things that you do, and for tuning in each and every week, man. So hope this episode provided some value, and I also hope that you live always with aloha. Peace.